How goes it, folks? Charlie Yeller talking to you. And we have now made it to the end of season 1 of hopefully at least 2 of the Skeleton Crew. Let's talk about it. So in the season finale, we saw Jod finally put his plan into motion where he was able to get the shields down, or the protective barrier over at Atten down. He was able to bring his crew in and they were starting to take over. But then the kids, of course, in a last minute 11th hour act of heroism, were able to call in help and they were able to take out the pirates. It's about what you would expect, and I'm sure anybody watching the series saw that. But there's a couple of things that I really want to talk about. First of all, I want to talk about Wim. And this final frame, you see it down below, where this is kind of like the final image or what we saw there just before things went off. Do you see the hopeful look in his face? That so much reminds me of Luke Skywalker and his wonder and wanting to go out into the galaxy and leave that desert planet of his. I really hope we get more out of Wim. Even if it's not in Skeleton Crew, maybe something down the line where we see him as an adult and what he's been doing ever since. I'd really like to see him become like a skilled pilot, a fighter, a general, or something, useful or productive with his life to kind of show, hey, he had a great payoff with the wonder that he had as a child and turned it into some really good adulthood moments. So next, I'd like to point out the supervisor here. And the supervisor kind of helps me kind of ponder on the timing of that Atten. Like, first of all, as we've seen throughout the series, this is taking place after the events of Return of the Jedi, right? Well, then the supervisor commented that the last transmission or message they got was that all Jedi are traitors. So that kind of tells me the Empire sent that, because I don't think the public, the old Republic, which went down in the prequel trilogy, would have sent that message. And I definitely don't think that the Republic that rose after the Empire or is rising after the Empire would have sent that either. So that tells me that the supervisor and the whole Atten structure has probably been in place since at least before the prequel trilogy, and it's been sitting there just minting the credits. It was there minting the credits during the prequel trilogy. It was there minting and printing the credits during the time of the Empire, and I guess the Empire just sent that notice of all Jedi are traitor just to make sure that they don't trust any Jedi, which runs very counter to what Wim has basically been doing with the fantasizing Jedi all this time. So, and then you also got to take into account Jod and the lightsaber that he found from that pirate's treasure hoard on the Pleasure Planet. So it kind of does like a whole lot of what's going on with this time, what's going on with that time. And it just kind of, I really hope we get some clarity on the line or circle of events that have gone on around Skeleton Crew, because some things kind of come into question because of what has been said and what has been done in this series. And then finally we have Jod here. Jod, he kind of makes me question things on what I know and understand of how Force users operate. We saw he was willing to threaten people, but at the same time, when KB and the Onyx Cinder crash landed, he openly expressed, like, I didn't want anybody to be hurt by this. So it's like he's okay with threatening harm, but doesn't actually do it. He does things that are underhanded and scummy. He, slick talking and things like that. So it's like he's not directly evil, but he ain't exactly a good guy either. Like I said previously, it kind of reminds me of like, what if Han Solo were a Force user? This is probably what we would get. But he gave a little bit of his backstory where he was taken in by, I don't know if he would actually call her his master. I don't think he called her a master in this episode where he was telling the story, but he does comment on how he was forced to watch while she was executed. So I don't think that I think that means that he's not another survivor of Order 66, but probably during the Jedi exterminations that took place after Order 66 and the Empire started making its real moves during the rise. So probably along the lines of the Obi-Wan times or the Obi-Wan series, Jod was probably a child during that. A master had taken him in, started teaching him, then she was found, and then she was killed. So Jod, I would like to see what happens to him after these events of Skeleton Crew, because I get the feeling he has more story to tell. And I think he's got more to do in the overall universe afterwards. Can we imagine if he somehow like comes in contact with Luke Skywalker and he kind of goes back or goes towards the light even more? Could be interesting. But what do you all think? I personally enjoyed Skeleton Crew, all 8 episodes. I'm sure I'm gonna rewatch it one day, but I'm gonna go back and try to watch Andor season 1 before Andor season 2 comes out. And also additionally, this is probably gonna be some of the last major stuff that I do here on this TikTok channel. If you want to see more of what I talk about, what I watch, Star Wars or otherwise, go find me over on YouTube. You can see me down there on the banner, Jolly Yellow Nerd. You'll find me on most apps with that name. That's where a lot of the stuff that's coming after this is going to go. So you folks have a good one. Jolly Yellow out.